and we are live with Hyrulecraft Weekly episode number 1 for January the 28th, 2012. I want to thank everyone for watching us either live or on the recording. I'm so glad everyone's here. Without further ado, let me introduce my two co-hosts for tonight. The first of whom, our creative level designer for the Hyrulecraft project, is Kevin O'Rourke. How you doing, buddy?
Hello, Benny. It's great to be here.
It's good to have you here. And the editor-in-chief for GenGAME.net, it is Trevor Magnani. How you doing, buddy?
What's up?
It's good to have you here.
Well, I guess I'm the only one that dressed up this time.
I wear the fancy armor. We got some fans in the background here of our shot. And first things first, if you have never watched Hyrulecraft before, you're probably wondering to yourself, what is Hyrulecraft? Well, if you haven't heard of us before, we're kind of a big deal.
Oh dear.
Okay, no, only time I'm going to do that, I swear. Hyrulecraft is a 1-to-1 scale recreation of Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time and Minecraft. And every week we like to do our own little video podcast about it, showcasing the stuff we've been working on. And this first little number we're going to be showing everybody is Kevin's little work. Kevin, you want to tell us about it?
It would be great if I was with you to see what you were looking at. Oh, this area itself? Oh, okay. Yeah. Basically, the way that this worked out was we had a river that flowed from the Zora's Fountain down into the Zora's River. And we thought, gee, well, it kind of makes sense for the water to go to this other water source. And basically one day Benny said, actually, I don't even think you said anything. I think I just built it.
You were
like, hey, it looks cool.
Me and Brendan we were working on it. It's like, you know what, this has to flow somewhere. So we made the river, and then you kind of expanded on it.
Yep, and for fans of The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, they'll recognize this little area where we started today as Link's house from the game. More or less, inspired by the house. I mean, if you load up the game and look at it, it looks a little like this, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. It's very, very well done. And moving onward, we've got a lot to talk about. We've been very, very busy this week in Hyrulecraft. One of the more notable changes to the map is this little bit of terrain we got going on here. Because before it was just kind of empty. We had the wall set up, but there was nothing behind it. We had a couple of the windmill animations sitting here for the plugin we're working on. But it's all here now. It's flattened out and filled in. It means we can start adding probably some more trees or maybe even houses up here. We could always turn this into a desert wasteland. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Everything is up in the air at this point.
Yeah, I mean, what I was thinking is we could build up it as a mountain in itself, so that it could block out some areas that you probably couldn't see. You know, make it look more like it was in the game, and then maybe have something inside of here. Mm-hmm. Possibly something that leads from this nifty area that I built, and possibly leads up there with some pathway. I don't know.
Alrighty. For those who are wondering, they want to be seeing a nice little video tour of the whole map. We don't have time for it today, but you can check out episode 00. It's kind of our little prequel episode to the whole project, explaining what it is. But to explain more what we mean about terrain shaping, there's a lot of stuff that would be hiding underneath. More so, the Dodongo's Cavern is one of the more recent dungeon editions we've been working on. I've got the first main room finished, which I think it looks okay. It could probably use a little bit more color. Especially the giant head that needs to go there eventually. Kevin, you can work on that, right? You're good at faces.
Yeah, well, you know, generally the way that Minecraft works is everything generally looks like a face. I think it's 50% of the time it looks like... Yeah, it looks like something else. And there's that once in a blue moon where me and Benny figured out something. Some things tend to look like feet, too. It's very rare that we get something that looks like a foot.
Walrus tent. But yeah, one of the major things about Dodongo's Cavern I'm a little upset about, but is the entryway. And I wanted to make all of Dodongo's Cavern fit. You know, like you head straight through here and you go into the cavern. But unfortunately, if you keep heading forward, you eventually run into Goron City, the Fairies Fountain up at the top, and as well because
I mean, you would hit the town too.
And because we have it so close together as these chunks are loading on the server, We have another fairy fountain down here that Dodongo's Cavern would actually run into. And I can't pop in here. There we go. There's a sheep in the fountain.
Really?
Who let the sheep in the fountain?
Sheepy.
Leave him there. That's funny.
We'll call him Chuck.
We will call him Chuck.
Chuck the sheep. No, don't chuck the sheep.
Please don't chuck the sheep. But yeah, so one of the solutions we offered up was not to put Dodongo's Cavern right there, but add a little sub-chamber. Once you head down here, you go down a flight of stairs, and not too long of a tunnel until you get to the first room, and then the main chamber, which I think will work out. We have a lot of space up here for building the rest of the dungeon. Of course, I can't build the second floor of this until the rest of the dungeon is built, so I can properly gauge that second elevation.
I mean, we could always set up... I know you're very against warps. However, you know, maybe we could define... I don't honestly know how the warps work, but maybe we could define the top of the stairs as an area, and it's like once you hit that spot, you know, boom, back at the bottom.
Maybe. It's always something we're willing to consider when developing the server and all the plugins. Which moves us to our next topic tonight, is the amount of plugins we're going into the server. I took a look this week at some of the already developed ones, and I got a couple of inspirational ideas. And I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this. The first is a plugin developed for Bucket called Catacombs. And basically, you type in a command, and you have a region set, and you can type in how many floors and levels, and it will generate your own dungeon.
That's pretty cool.
Based on a
that
lot
sounds
of
like Diablo right there.
Yeah. It's almost exactly like Diablo. And there's these pre-made rooms, and it'll just fit them all together, and then in a couple places even some puzzles or hidden switches you can unlock with the Catacombs plugin. So we're going to take a look at that, how that works, and maybe that will coincide with our regenerative dungeons feature.
It sounds good when you say it that way, but I always think, like, you know, I would probably want to build my own, and then, you know, it would be cool if we could build our own dungeons and such, and maybe have them toggle in, or maybe like generate it. I don't know how it works, to be honest.
Or have we talked about to create rooms and then have those be the ones that are cycled in.
Yeah, like almost like a playlist.
I'm almost thinking we have the set entrance already in place. The server's kind of lagging a little bit tonight. We've got so many people on. Have a made entrance. We design it ourselves, but the inside of the temple will reset once every couple of days, so we can have some. I guess every time you play that little mini dungeon, you get a completely new experience, which would be really cool to see.
Maybe have them reset after 24 hours or something. That way everybody could explore it at least, you know, a couple times maybe if they want to get resources.
Now, if you watched episode 0 of Hyrulecraft Weekly, we showed you part of the Deku Tree. But one of the newer additions we had was the expanded rooms. We got the shape of them down. We haven't exactly filled them out yet. But this basement level of Deku Tree is pretty much done. I'll probably have to put some additional things in here. This is the room that has the secret hallway in the back with another chamber that has a scutella inside. Which you need the slingshot, or bombs and boomerang to get to. One final thing we have not done yet, though, is the boss chamber. We have kind of the room, and it basically ends.
And of course, 23 is number 1.
Of course.
We have to somehow get that puzzle in here.
I would love to have that puzzle in here. Or we can come up with a new one. I don't know yet. Still working on it.
No, that's gotta be in there.
That's like a staple in the game too. Like that is the one thing you remember.
Mm-hmm. That and Zelda's Lullaby.
Song of Healing.
What?
I played Majora's Mask more, so I'd say the Song of Healing.
Oh, okay. Alright, moving onward, we have a little bit of a spotlight we're going to show you guys tonight. We showed it off last week, but we're going to show you again. Do we have a warp set up for the little side area?
We could warp to the lake and go from there.
I'm warping to Fortress. I think that's closer. But, for people who've been on the server might notice that, our river at Gerudo Valley is, well, loading. It's not very deep. It's something we need to finish, but at the same time, it flows down here, and it just kind of ends at a wall, which is a real problem. So we decided, okay, we need to make this make sense. It has to flow from Gerudo Valley all the way to a new place. So Kevin has been very hard at work in designing the Cranog with 2 ends.
2 ends. For those of you who don't know what a Cranog is, it's basically a swamp or like a marsh or a bog or something.
And what's this supposed to be? It's supposed to be kind of like a southern swamp-inspired ordeal.
More or less, yeah.
With these really tall trees, the vines, got the lily pads.
Yep, Majora's Mask inspired.
Mm-hmm. And then we have this little area behind the waterfall, which we're looking into developing into a player housing region. These little elevated tree houses.
They're awesome.
Which are pretty cool, if I may say.
And potentially a shop area or, I don't know, something in here. These little rooms. And I think that these lily pads gave you the idea by Jabu Jabu. The Jabu Jabu area.
Oh yeah, I saw these before, and I'm like, you know what? These make really good travel over water, so I added them in Zora's Domain, or more so the Zora's Fountain, because a lot of people are having trouble getting through there.
Yeah, I mean, it takes like a good 5 minutes just to trudge through all the water.
Mm-hmm.
The main event of the Cranog here, though, is this guy.
What's his name?
Fly up here.
I don't even know his name anymore.
The Great Mahaku Tree.
It's Mahaku Tree. Okay, with his giant nose.
Yeah, he's got a big nose. He's a very wise nose.
You didn't keep the sunglasses?
No, we decided the sunglasses were. Actually, Brendan really wanted the sunglasses in, but I think it was a little much.
Yeah,
I don't think Tree should wear sunglasses. I don't even think the sun ever gets in his eyes.
I thought it'd be funny. This Tree is bro. He wears sunglasses at night.
Yeah, I mean, before we put the tree in, there was this big waterfall.
Mm-hmm.
I think me and you spent a day. Well, you really worked on it, and then
you
I kind of rode down it in a boat. And it was a fun ride.
Demonstration of the fun boat ride, which I would love to actually include in here. You start at the top, and you have like a little mini game. You ride in the boat and shoot arrows at people. I don't know if we can get that to work or not.
I think that's wishful thinking. This area over here generated some cool stuff.
I'm trying to find out. Okay. Yeah, a lot of this was not. There's a lot of exposed stuff, but that was really wasn't TNT. It's just the mountain and how it turned out.
Yeah, a lot of people like from some videos I've seen from people and some comments on people that played the map. They're like, "Oh, they used TNT here," and I was like, "No, we didn't.
We used TNT.
If we used TNT, we'd break your computer, which was hosting the server at the time."
But it was at the top of the mountain, but down here we really didn't. One of the neat little things about this map, though, you really won't discover unless we tell you, is that where base elevation is. And I don't have the coordinates. There we go. Base elevation in Minecraft is usually around 64, 65 blocks. I don't know the exact number. But if you look at everything else in the map, it's probably about 15 blocks lower than that. As you notice, I was at 64 elevation right where that pool water is. But places like Lake Hylia are down really far. Even all the way down to around 45, where this water's sitting. Which is necessary adjustment. For those who wanted to wonder why we did that so Death Mountain and Kakariko Village would all fit. Because the way it currently stood, Kakariko Village had maybe about 4 blocks high for the stairs, and that was unacceptable.
Yeah, the way that the lake worked originally too, there was like this huge drop down that we had to do, and the lake fit without breaking the world, which was great, because the lake was probably one of the biggest endeavors, if you will.
One of the biggest endeavors, save after Hyrule Field. I'm gonna go ahead and seal this up. I'm gonna show everyone a quick tour at Water Temple, another zone we had worked on very briefly. I spent about a good half hour on this. I added the zone finally here. There's one little problem, is that the hole isn't in the right spot.
Oh no.
But the way the temple's set up, it made it really difficult to get this right, especially in this area in the corner. I could have changed it in the future, but this corner is supposed to be angular a bit and sticks out more. Because in the game, you're supposed to be able to use hover boots to get across. And I can already tell that needs to be higher because it's only 1 block above where I'm at. So that's one of the things I'm going to be adjusting in the future. But for the status on Water Temple, all of the major adjacent rooms on all the floors are finished. We have this room. Those fences are supposed to be spikes. You come down here and you hook shot up. And then there's a chest in here. There it is. But so far, Water Temple's looking really good. I'm going to take a minute. I'm going to show everybody Shadow Temple because we also have been working on that as well.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what you guys did with the Shadow Temple.
Let's see. Warp. Where's that? In the river? River. I think it's river. Yeah.
I'm not quite sure.
It's past Zora's Domain. You warp to river and you head to Zora's Domain and you go past it. The world is taking really long to load. We've had a lot of traffic on here. We've even got a lot of people on there right now touring the server.
Right now we have 34 people, not including us.
But you gotta hurry up and get into the server soon because we're closing it down Sunday night, Monday morning at midnight on Sunday. Midnight Eastern time. We're shutting down the server for good. Well, not for good, but...
Not for good, but
for the alpha.
We're shutting down the alpha. Alpha testing will be over. So if you haven't gotten a chance to look at the server, please do so. You can visit gengame.net/Hyrulecraft for all the information. And we're going to do a final tour of Shadow Temple. If I can find the entrance.
Let's make it daytime.
Where's the entrance?
Take a look. We don't need to be in shadow forever.
Okay. As you remember, you head down this hallway. You got the pit. You got a hook shot across. We don't have the invisible or the pass-through walls yet. We need to find a way to get those working. Maybe a painting of some kind.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
The paintings used to be different. I think you were able to get them over like an empty hallway. Well, not a hallway, but like a open blocks.
I might change the blocks in the future, but we're gonna stick with the stone brick just because the pattern matches with the with what it looks like in game. It's the color that bothers me. The soul sand actually turned out pretty nicely, even though the texture is supposed to look like the one of the masks from Majora's Mask. Right now, it's actually looking out really neat because if you remember in Shadow Temple, rooms like this were made out of skulls. If you looked at the wallpaper, maybe a bit more obvious in Ocarina of Time 3D. I'm not sure. But this is the room you fight the dead hand and get your hover boots in.
They really made, to be honest, in Ocarina of Time 3D, they really made the Shadow Temple and even beneath the well like creepier than it was in the original.
If that was possible, and they made it happen.
I think it just... I have yet to play the 3DS version. But, it's hard to make it creepier. Especially, well, maybe because when I played it, I was like, I don't know, 8 years old. 9 years old, maybe.
I mean, it always had this really creepy vibe to it, but I think they really succeeded in making it
up the creep factor.
Alright, we haven't done the drop down for this yet. But
these are supposed to be on fire, aren't they?
Which are? I'm trying to find out where you're at. You're flying ahead of me.
Another wreck thing? I'm behind you, man.
Alrighty.
I'm by the big mouth thing.
I'm already past that. We got the drop down here that isn't done. Getting that to work out perfect is going to be very challenging. Getting the drop down shortcut towards the end of the temple. Well, we have this room with the spinning blades, which I don't know how we're going to get spinning blades to work yet.
Well, I think we're going to have to just incorporate Vox Electronics or something.
That would be cool. We have another one of these little side rooms here. And then you blow up this wall and head through here. Which, all this will drop down, these little hallways. But we have the rooms built for now. Is there one more section, or is that all of it?
I think that's all we got. I think this is technically the first and second floors. I think there's 4 floors in the Shadow Temple, if I remember correctly. I don't quite know. I'm hoping that this area will fit in with the map pretty well. Pretty painlessly.
Alrighty. We've got one more file now before we do a little bit more discussion. I got some things I want to talk about. And we wrap up the show. Everyone's been asking me about Lord Jabu Jabu, and we have 2 excuses for this. One, Story-wise, he's on vacation. That's what we're saying.
He's on vacation.
He's on vacation.
That's how we're gonna cop out.
No, the way there's more involved with the story than just he's on vacation. We've considered that. We have a story, rough draft, if you will. I guarantee, like, some Zelda fans are gonna be like, well, if you listen to the timeline theory from Johnny X3441, you realize that it's like, yeah, no, okay.
Where we to be honest, we don't have a really valid excuse why he's not here. Story-wise,
he's impossible to build.
Minecraft-wise, that is our reason for not putting him. He's impossible to build.
Anatomically impossible.
Anatomically
the
impossible.
The way that he makes, like, if you think about it, like, you go into this whale thing, he's as big as this basin thing, this area here. Not even.
The actual dungeon is big as the
dungeon
basin.
is bigger than this area.
Mm-hmm. Not only that is building Jabu Jabu. We don't have enough blocks. I mean, what are we gonna use? Netherrack
and wool.
Wool.
And then if someone lit the netherrack on fire, that'd be bad. We'd have a smoked Jabu Jabu.
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
It's not, you know.
Those are the only two blocks.
This texture pack, it overlooked Jabu Jabu's textures. Because, frankly, it didn't really make sense to have it anywhere.
I did get an email suggestion. I forget from who. Sorry. But he said if you made Jabu Jabu, get the things that hang down from the ceiling that you have to shoot or other stuff. Make those melons. Like attach them maybe to fences or something like that.
Could work.
But still, it's... There's monsters inside of Jabu Jabu. Link didn't kill them all. That's why I want to say he was dead.
And they all didn't die from the stomach acid either.
Yeah. I want to say he was dead. Some people don't want me to kill him off, so...
Well, I mean, the thing is that you never really know what happens for him, and the way that this story works for the server, thus far what we've been able to say is that it takes place 5 years after the child timeline, where Link has gone back, and Ganon is no longer in the picture. You know, who's to say where Jabu Jabu went in 5 years? We're certainly not the ones. We're not trying to write Zelda canon here. We're just trying to say, like, look, it doesn't make sense.
Trying to come up with a reason.
Yeah. Like, you know, we can't just say, like, oh, he died, and people are going to be like, what? That's completely wrong.
How do you know?
People are going to be sending us, like, Jabu Jabu / Jaboon theories from the Wind Waker and be like, well, if you play the Wind Waker, you know, it's like, yeah, I played the Wind Waker.
It's supposed to be, what, hundreds of years after Ocarina of Time. Maybe even thousands, I'm not sure.
Or it could be, like, 5 or 10.
I remember reading one theory where it's only actually a couple decades, but somebody said the gods did something to people's memories to make them think it was longer, and I'm like,
oh, God.
What? That doesn't
Waiting
make
for
sense.
Nintendo to confirm that.
Anyways,
yeah, right.
Tell us.
One last thing. I know I said one last thing like 2 things ago. Another addition to the Castle Town we're experimenting with is our plot system we want to put on the server once it goes beta. And we have these nice little guild halls here. That
I think the guild halls are going to get reworked.
You don't like them?
I don't know. They feel like the entire building is staircases.
Yeah.
Have you seen the one that I built?
Which one did you build?
I didn't see.
Buddy,
I can find it.
The one,
the one in the corner? Okay. This one I like, actually.
This one here, yeah.
This one's good. It's got the staircase in the corner.
It's got the table. It's got lockers for chests. It has an upstairs room for beds. Cake. Someone told me to put cake there when they were watching me build. The beds are all in here. You know, it could be changed. The chests. And then you get a nice balcony.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I might ask you to copy and paste this, because I want to make some changes, but I don't want to mess with your current build.
Well, okay. We can work on that in the future. I do like this design. I mean, everything's high enough. It's only 2 stories tall. Maybe if we put these into small guild plots, this could be one of the pre-made houses. But everything is up to change in the future, but still.
I mean, to be honest, the large mansion here could be turned into a guild hall. That's because it's the three-story.
This reminds me of Boo's Mansion from Super Mario 64. You know, when you kill a guy and this, I don't know, I'm picturing like the staircase shoots up. I feel like it's this one, I don't know, it feels cramped and short. 3 blocks high.
It does. I mean, if we made them 4 blocks high, it might work. Because this top area is 4 blocks high, but it's an attic, and that should... Actually, this top area is 5 blocks high. Attic should only be 3. Anyways.
Yeah, mine is 5, I believe.
I think 4 should be a good standard.
I know, it's 4 here.
Anyways, final thing I want to talk about. We're done showing everybody everything. I'm gonna.
Oh, well, no, there's one more thing, Benny.
What's that?
The beginnings of the sewers.
Beginnings of the sewers, yes.
Something to mention. There's also.
I keep forgetting how much stuff we worked on in the past week.
Yeah.
We want to make a little bit of sense to why the water flows out from the wall, so we made us a little canal that's gonna be flowing from this way. Eventually, we're going to have our own little sewer system mini dungeon. We have it built. We just haven't pasted it in yet. We'll probably do that.
It's going to be right through here. I think I have a sign that might be funny. Probably not. Probably just says, like, sewers go here.
Sewer. Well, I'm probably going to have to add additions to it now, but we have a sewer entrance down here now. I didn't even see the stairs before. But
I had a funny sign. I deleted it. I put this in. I don't know.
But how it's going to work is the sewers are like a mini resettable dungeon. It's your first dungeon in the game when you start playing the Hyrulecraft beta MMO experience. But that and more other dungeons we have working on. We're probably going to see that next week.
I think it's up for download, isn't it? Planet Minecraft? I think you could download the sewers if you want to play it.
Alrighty.
You know, the early sewers that we built.
Oh yeah, the Market Sewers Dungeon Pack 1 is available for download. Just check out the Hyrulecraft page at gengame.net/Hyrulecraft. Quick thing I want to talk about. Over the next week, over the next month, 2 months, we're going to be working on a lot of things on Hyrulecraft. Kevin, you want to explain to people exactly what you're going to be doing?
Oh boy. I don't even know where to begin. In terms of what I have been building and what probably will go in, I mean, we mentioned it before, those resettable dungeons. I'd probably like to get a couple, at least, things that we could work with, and if not, it could just be scrapped. There's a lot of things that I built that, you know, may or may not fit in, but finding ways to make some of these things work. I mean, there's an area in the castle that I want to redo in the upper floors, which haven't been accessible. Continue work on the Cranog, preset buildings, you know, a bunch of little things that, you know, may not be part of the Ocarina of Time story, but could easily be, you know, new zones that we're going to put into Hyrulecraft.
It's not part of the Ocarina of Time story, but it'll be part of the Hyrulecraft story.
Yeah. And, you know, I've mentioned some things that I built. I have a whole town that I've built. Sewers, obviously. What else? The icebox thing.
The ice cave, or the what's more of a dirt cave now, but
yeah, it's like it's icy snow. The thing was is that the ice looked really, really bad with the water and stuff, so we kind of made it dirt and snow. It's like the dirty snowball kind of area. I don't know. Right. What else? There's a whole zone to go with that has more ice and snow.
You put the really big zone for that.
Yeah.
We have to go get that copied over here. So.
There was just like a week where I just went nuts and like built a bunch of stuff that kind of flows into each other. And there's a Link to the Past inspired area there. There's a couple actually. There's another secret zone I started. There was a Stonehenge thing that I was building that may or may not have been deleted. We worked on a sand zone one area.
The desert oasis, yeah.
The oasis is in there. The PvP zone, which is another thing I want to work on. I'm going to be very busy.
We are going to be very busy. We're going to be showcasing probably another major build every week. We'll give us a little in-depth tours. We'll show everyone the details. That's pretty much what Hyrulecraft Weekly is all about. It's not exactly, you know, this big grandiose show. We're going to spend 5 hours building stuff. It's really short. It's digestible, and it's more... We're going to show you what happened during the week. We do lots of live streams for Hyrulecraft.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for the whole experience of seeing the builds come to life block by block, you want to check out Hyrulecraft Live, which really could happen at any time.
Just check the schedule, gengame.net/schedule. I don't know if you're going to be working on anything, Trevor. Do you have any little projects you want to work on in Hyrulecraft?
Probably what I'll be working on is the kind of like the Castletown stuff. I could actually lay my fame to a few of the buildings here, like the little house here I helped build. Like some of the more user-generated content that'll be available, or user-selectable content. I'll be working on the guild halls from time to time, kind of putting them together and seeing what works, what doesn't work, what things should be there.
As well as lots of other stuff just for the website. I mean, you don't have a lot of time to work on Hyrulecraft, but...
Yeah, I mean, I'm working more behind the scenes than these guys are. Like, coming up with ideas of how we're going to make this work. I'm going to be trying to work with Brendan as best as I can, trying to figure out how we're going to get all the server-side stuff to mesh with the website, and so that we can have a fully interactive website to manage your Hyrulecraft experience.
Which is something we'll probably talk about in detail next week. Final note before we close out the show today, we talked a little bit about Brendan and his role in the project. We're sad to announce that he's going to be, probably at the end of the month, be stepping away because he's working on another project, which it's more for personal reasons. He wants to step away. He wants to actually work on getting his development career going. And, I mean, it's understandable. I mean, Hyrulecraft is a big thing, but he wants to try some other things and focus on school. School's another big thing. So he has to step away from the Hyrulecraft project, which brings up my next note. We're looking for programmers. We've got 2, 3-ish. One of them is kind of part-time right now. People who can program for the server, write plugins, people who can do mods of sorts. If you think you are capable of doing this, you can send an email to bennygg@gengame.net. That is my email for questions and comments and lots of other stuff. So just send an email to bennygg@gengame.net. All questions and comments go there. Follow me on Twitter at NightPhoenix16. I goofed on the graphic there.
Oh boy.
Way to be, Benny G.
Kevin, where can they find you on Twitter?
You can find me at Shabazzle.
SHABA.
I'm going to screw this up on the next podcast.
You really are.
I'm
waiting for it.
A double underscore Hawkeye. What?
Just kidding.
Alrighty, and you can follow Trevor on Twitter at
the Mags.
I don't have the graphic up. Oops. Well,
yeah, whatever. Everybody follows him anyway. He's suggested by Twitter to follow.
There we go.
I'm a suggested follower, so you should. If
you're not following him already,
if you're not following me already, you really should.
You're not cool.
I do a lot of live stuff and announce a lot of my personal live streams there. So.
Okay.
Actually, a lot of them being either on this channel or at twitch.tv/Zelda Dungeon.
And one more final thing, you can watch the live show and get all sorts of other updates at gengame.net/Hyrulecraft. You can subscribe to our weekly recordings. If you missed the live show, which happens usually on Fridays, tonight's the exception. We did it on Saturday. But everything else will be on Fridays. Just go to blip.tv/Hyrulecraft. You can subscribe to our page there. And you can get notifications whenever we update with a new show or other little maybe neat videos that we sneak in there under the radar. So
it's also, you can also subscribe in iTunes. So if you are one of those folks that like to tout around an iPod or like to use iTunes to manage your music, you can get Hyrulecraft delivered right to your iTunes. And the link to that is on blip.tv/Hyrulecraft.
Alrighty. And that does it for episode 1 of Hyrulecraft Weekly. My name is Benny Gerard. I want to thank Kevin and Trevor for showing up for our first ever real episode. If you're watching us live at Twitch TV, make sure you follow the channel. We're doing a giveaway on Monday, are we not?
Yep. Hopefully. We're still trying to get everything together in terms of the eligible names for the giveaway. So we will be doing more giveaways, though, so it does not hurt to hit that subscribe button, because we do frequent giveaways on the channel, whether it's a $5 Steam game or a $170 Nintendo 3DS with free shipping.
Alrighty.
Which we're really happy to be giving away.
Alright, and that does it for the show. Thank you for watching. We will see you next week.